Hey everyone, and welcome to your Infringement Friday. I hope you guys are having a great week and that you guys have some great games coming up for the weekend, and that everything is going to go your way. Let's have a look at something that I know that most every player, every fan, every coach loves to call, and they think they know it, and that is the handball. Let's jump in. I want to jump in real quick to the law itself, and then we'll go from there. I will discuss this sheet right up here as well. So, handling the ball. For the purposes of determining handball offenses, the upper boundary of the arm is in line with the bottom of the armpit. So if it's me, it's right here. We see it's right there. You can't really see because of my t-shirt, but it's about right there, okay? Not every touch of the player's hand/arm with the ball is an offense. That is where we are going to be able to derive a lot of our discretion in terms of determining what follows, if it is an offense. Now the laws start to really delineate what is an offense, right? Deliberately touching the ball with their hand or arm, for example, moving the hand/arm into towards the ball. Touching the ball with their hand or arm when it has made their body unnaturally bigger. A player is considered to have made their body unnaturally bigger when the position of their hand/arm is not a consequence of or justifiable by the player's body movement for that specific situation. By having the hand/arm in such a position, the player takes a risk of their hand/arm being hit by the ball and being penalized. This is probably the paragraph that's going to trip everybody up as far as spectators, coaches, and players, because they're used to thinking the old way of, hey, if it's touched his hand or arm, it's a handball. Period. End of story, right? There is no more subjectivity, or there used to be no subjectivity. There used to be no wiggle room or anything, but now there is, and there actually has been for quite a while, but, people get stuck into their own way of thinking, right? And then the final criteria for it being an offense: scores in the opponent's goal directly from their hand or arm, even if accidental, including by the goalkeeper, immediately after the ball has touched their hand or arm, even if accidental. So if it bounces up, hits the arm, and they kick it right into the goal, we have an offense. Now, the other pieces are on the goalkeeper. I'm not going to get into some of those offenses at the moment, outside of the fact that outside of their own penalty area, they have the same restrictions at playing the ball with their hand that everybody else does. Now, in order to determine all of this, right, and determining the considerations for a handball and so forth, I was actually lucky enough to get in touch with a Estonian FIFA referee, and he's building a platform called RefPal. They're going to be in use, I believe, this summer for the CONCACAF Gold Cup, where they're filling out and looking at games in a very analytical fashion. And this spreadsheet right here is part of that criteria and part of that system. And it's really just a clean and natural way of looking at the considerations of what these offenses will have. So I'm going to leave it up on the screen so that we have the considerations right there as we review some of the clips that I've curated from Instagram as well. So let's go ahead and jump on over into the clips, and these are in no particular order, so I'm just going to give kind of these sort of live hot takes, and I want to know what you guys think. If I'm looking at things a little bit differently, if you're seeing something that I'm not, feel free to share and comment, because that's how we're all going to start learning here. So first, let's jump in. And I'm going to try and make this a little bit bigger, but I don't want to, I want to keep the sheet visible as well. So give me a second. All right. All right, so that should be okay now. Come through. Okay. So this is an indoor game where, obviously there's that glass kind of and the dasher boards all around, right? And we see that the player has essentially had the ball hit their arm from behind, hit their arm from the deflection off the glass, and they're moving their arm backwards. Now, looking at this, are we saying that his arm is in a natural position? I'd say yeah, it's kind of down by his side. Is the ball arriving expected or unexpected, right? He's clearly running back into a defensive position. He's not expecting that ball, so I think it's unexpected. Distance and time. Does he have the time and the ability to get his arm out of the way? Does he see that ball coming? That kind of thing. I'd say that's pretty short. So we're looking at kind of a negative factor there for an offense. The arm is close to the body, like I had said, so we're not necessarily making the body any bigger or anything. And is the arm moving towards the ball? No. We don't need to kind of go through all of these considerations right here, but it is something there that we can do should this need arise, right? So in my opinion, we don't have an offense here because the arm is in a natural position and we can't punish a player simply for having arms, right? So here we go. Let's move on to the next one. Now we have an attacker driving into the penalty area. We have an opponent kind of sliding in feet first, but then as he's sliding in, that arm sort of juts out, right? So we have the hand position. In my opinion, this is an unnatural position for that motion, for that slide. Typically, you'd see the arm going down if it's in a slide, not necessarily out. And this is one of those moments where you start to understand what it means by kind of having that arm out. You're running the risk of the ball hitting it. The arm being out is not necessarily the problem. It's the fact that it's an unnatural position and that we have the ball striking the arm, and that's where we have the offense to come from. So to come back to the considerations here, it's in an unnatural position. He's expecting the contact because he sees the players coming into the area. Distance is still pretty short, so that's not going to be a factor. It's apart from the body. Is it moving towards ball? I'm going to say no. It's moving into the path of play. Arm in the direction of play, yes, but not necessarily in the path of the ball. Is he able to avoid the contact? I'd say he is, right? Is he trying to avoid the contact? No, he's not. Is the arm supporting the body? Doesn't apply here. Arm above shoulder level. Let's have a look. No, it's below shoulder level, so he's not like reaching up like this, right? Is the shot on goal? Yeah, I would say that's going goalward. Whether or not it's a cross or a shot is a little difficult to determine here. Self-played or deflected? No, it is going in the goal direction. So we have all the criteria there to look at this as an offense. Okay? Next, let's have a look here. Now, this is interesting, right? Because from this angle, it does look like he's kind of jutted his arm out, and it's kind of like he's moved into the path. However, from this back angle, we see that he's just turning, and his arm is still very close to the body, still very much down, and he's, again, trying to do that same motion of getting the ball, or getting the arm out of the way of the ball, right? So, again, do we have a natural position? I would say yes. Are we expecting the arrival? Part of me doesn't think he is, right? Maybe it's kind of close. I don't know. Distance, I would say it's pretty short as well. Arm to body, he's close. Is he moving the arm towards the ball? I would say no. Have to agree with the referee on this. And by the way, the mechanic that the referee is using here, while not official, is saying, yes, I've seen the contact. Yes, it is. But no, it's not an offense. Very clear language, very, very stern, very decisive. Gotta love that. Next. This is where we are going to start to talk about the accidental offense, right? And that accidental touch on the arm that then leads to the goal. So it's this part is the spirit, right? The spirit of the game. You can't score a goal with your arm, right? And that's where it really comes from. And in this case, it does strike. Now, whether or not you believe it strikes or not is not necessarily a piece to all of this. But we do see that. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. There we go. We can see that when the ball is struck, his arm is out, he's turning, and in my opinion, just right there, it's glancing off that forearm, and it takes the deflection into the goal, and that's where we have the offside or the handball offense. Had it hit his arm, went down, and then he shot, we're also looking at an offense there as well. Okay? Now, for the next one. This one's going to be, it's a VAR review first, but let's have a look here. So, this is interesting to me because the player goes up, he's kind of pushing the attacking player in, but then his arm is kind of up and away, and it kind of almost makes that motion towards punching, right? For me, when we see this kind of player, or when we see this kind of play, and I know it's short here, when we see this kind of play, though, we have to determine what are they doing with their arm, and is it in a natural position? Now, the natural consequence here is that he's going up to challenge, but his arms are coming into the player's back, right? So he's already not doing something with his arms he needs to be doing. And then we have, he's kind of succeeded in the push, in the pull, and now his arm's up here, and it's high. It's away from his body. It's above the shoulder. Is it in a natural position? Maybe you could argue it's in a natural position for jumping for the ball. Is he expecting that contact? No, I don't think he's expecting the contact. Short distance, but the arm is apart from the body, and he is moving it towards the ball, even if unintentionally, right? Is he trying to avoid the contact? No. Is he able to avoid the contact? I'd argue it's no. Arm is going in the direction of play, and it's above the shoulder. It is clearly an attacking opportunity as far as that goes. I would say, yes, it is maybe going goalward, but it's obviously a cross into that area. And I don't have anything in the considerations here that really point to this not being an offense, even though there's a lot of mitigations that go with it as well. He's pushing, the arm comes up, it's moving towards the ball, and even though he's jumping and so forth, that arm is still moving and it's still going towards the ball that way. Ultimately, the referee did go ahead and award the penalty for this one, so it's kind of a moot point. But at the same time, is this something that we see all the time? When they're going up, kind of going through, and they're physically challenging, it's not much of a push, but it is a push. And as the push is being considered, it's that arm is coming up and away, bats that ball away. You can see there is another player, another attacker that is potentially going to be able to get that ball, but now they cannot because that arm is up away from the body, moving towards the ball, and we have an offense. All right, now we have this one. So this one you may have seen on my content on Instagram, and this will be the last one that we kind of look at here because I think it matters how we look at these things as well. When we have these sorts of offenses, right? You see that we're going to have the ball coming back. As he's going down, his arm is above his head. It's kind of reaching behind him. Not a natural position. I would say it's definitely expected. It's not a terribly long distance, but it's obvious that he knows that ball is going to be coming. And I'd say his arm is actually moving towards the ball because he's actually moving it above, right? Above the shoulder. And honestly, where this really makes a big deal is that the referee is in probably the best possible spot to see this, right? In terms of the overall offense. So here, he's actually like up over here, and he's just outside the penalty area. He's able to see this ball get cut back, and then he's able to see that player fall. He's got he basically sees the space between the attacking player shooting the ball and that defender who's falling. He sees the arm go above. Easy call to be able to get this one right. Now, when it comes to handball, right? There's many different things. For example, I don't have a clip here that is where the player is kind of on the ground supporting his arm, supporting his body weight with the arm, right? But we just have to learn what is it to naturally support your weight on your arm versus when are you laying on the ground and the arm juts out. Different sort of scenario. But I hope this helps. If we go through and look through, there's plenty more examples of handball. So if you guys have a question on this, post your links, post your videos in the comment section, and let's have a look at them. Let's go through and run through the considerations, because that's where we're going to start to understand what is and what isn't a handball offense. And I think the ones that are most difficult are when, they're jumping up and the arms are up and they're using their arms to come up, and then they've got that unexpected hit to the arm and so forth. Those are the ones that are often the most difficult to judge. And honestly, when it comes time, you just simply have to give yourself the grace to have that ultimate judgment. If your gut is telling you, yep, that's a handball offense, arm was out, away from the body, etc., you start to build in these considerations into your thought process, and you can make those instant decisions very, very quickly. From there, everything else is your positioning and the mechanics, like you've seen a couple of these referees do, where, yep, I've seen the contact, not an offense, or strong mechanic to be able to go through and award whatever restart, or to simply call the offense as far as that goes. So I hope that helps in terms of handball recognition, the differences between and so forth. These are probably some of the hardest things to get done and get right, especially at the grassroots level, because play can be so quick, play can be so dynamic as far as your movement and the movement of players. There's going to be times where you're side on to somebody and the arm is up and out and we can't see, because we can't see through players, right? Give yourself the grace to understand that that's going to happen, and we simply have to keep going, we have to keep playing, and we have to tell the players to do that as well. So that is your Infringement Friday. I hope you guys enjoy, have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you guys for your Motivation Monday. Have a great weekend.